Just a reminder on the informal assessment for social sciences next week, on the 23rd of July. The topics that I'm going to assess you on, the Kingdom of Mali, for history, and then for geography, map skills. So just go through those topics if you've got a textbook. But starting from Monday next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll just go through those topics again. We'll revise those topics. Okay. So it's just a reminder. Don't forget, please. I don't want you to fail the assessment. Okay. Okay. Just a quick recap on what we did yesterday in the previous lesson. We looked at the impact of the transatlantic slave trade on slaves. That was the main topic. And the subtopics that we looked at were slave culture in songs and stories, and also resistance to slavery. So remember, we said in the previous lesson, the slaves started to creating their own songs and stories to comfort themselves, to heal themselves from the painful treatment they were getting from slavery. And also we looked at the forms of resistance that they used to slavery, how they resisted the unfair treatment they were getting. That is what we did in the previous lesson. Let's revise the homework that I gave you. I hope you did your homework, grade 7. Now, we were supposed to use the source, the one that I put on the right there. You were supposed to use that source to answer the questions. Did you do your homework, grade 7? Did you do your homework? I hope you've got your answers with you there. So we're going to revise together. So you should learn how to answer source-based questions. Like this one, homework that I gave you, it's a source-based. Because there's a source, this source. So it is called source-based question. Remember, in social sciences, you use sources to answer questions. In history. Question 1, identify what the slave is carrying on his back. His possessions or his belongings. That was question 1. Just correct your work. Number 2, explain why slaves decided to escape. Why did they decide to escape? To be free from slavery. So they wanted to free themselves from the slavery. Number 3, sorry about that. Number 3, discuss how slaves resisted slavery. So you were supposed to give any example, violent or non-violent forms. For example, they will destroy crops, they will steal livestock, pretending to be sick, breaking working tools, stealing food, use of codes in songs to communicate, slowing down their work pace. So that is how the slaves resisted slavery, by using different forms, violent or non-violent forms. So all of this was a way of irritating the slave owners. So the slaves started to resist the slavery. Number 4, explain why a farmer would make such an effort to get a slave back. Remember that advertisement, the source? It's a reward being given to anyone who is in the slave. Slaves were a valuable possession to farmers, so that the farmers had to find the slaves who had escaped. So that's why the farmers had to find the slaves who had escaped. Slaves were a valuable possession to farmers. So these slaves were a valuable product, like a goods to farmers. So if they escaped, the farmers had to make such an effort to get them back, because they had lost a worker. Question 5. What do you think the reward would be today? Today, United States dollar, one United States dollar is equal to 16 rand. Therefore, the reward today would be times 16, approximately, to be 2,400, the reward. What do you think the reward would be today? So you're just supposed to convert to the current rate. Okay, so that was the homework. Let's move on. I gave you previous key terms to research. Did you research on them? Let's go through them. Rebellion. What is rebellion? A violent uprising against an established ruler. So we're going to look at this now in the next slides. Revolt, to rise up in rebellion. Mutiny, a rebellion against authorities. So these 3 words, they are kind of related, they are linked. They are talking about rebellion, violent uprising. It's the same thing. Now, today's topic, we're going to look at the impact of the transatlantic slave trade on slaves. That is the main topic. We've got 2 subtopics: rebellion against slavery, and then we're going to look at the Nat Turner's revolt, 1831. Let's move on. Okay. Now, there was rebellion against slavery. Remember, the slaves, they started by doing resistance. And then they moved on to rebellion now. Many slaves were angry with the treatment from their masters. Their resistance grew stronger and started various rebellions against their masters. So the following people started revolts. So we're going to look at the following people. who started revolts or those rebellions. These are Nat Turner, Joseph Sink, Harriet Tubman, and John Brown. So we're going to look at those people in detail. How did they start those revolts? How do they manage them? Remember, their resistance was growing stronger than before. They were unhappy. They were angry with the treatment they were getting from the masters during slavery. So they thought rebellion was the good way to stop this slavery. Let's start by looking at Nat Turner, who started a revolt in 1831. Remember, a revolt is a rebellion against those in power. He started a rebellion against slavery in 1831, Nat Turner. His master was Benjamin Turner. So it means he was given the same name of his master. Look how the lives of these people changed, the African people who were slaves. Their names will be changed. His mother and grandmother were brought to America from Africa. So they came as a family with his mother and grandmother. They all hated slavery. Turner was intelligent and could read and write. So he was fortunate enough. Remember, most of the slaves, they couldn't read or write. But Turner, he was intelligent. He was also a spiritual and religious person who spent his time praying. He was very spiritual and religious. He taught other slaves he had a vision from God of freeing them. So he taught other slaves that God had talked to him in a vision that he should free other slaves. Turner was then sold to Joseph Travis, and that's when he started planning his revolt. So he was sold to a new owner now, Joseph Travis. In August 1831, there was a solar eclipse, and he thought it was a sign from God to escape. You know what is a solar eclipse? So when the solar eclipse occurred in August 1831, he thought that it was God who was talking to him. He was giving him a sign to escape. Remember, when there's a solar eclipse, the sun is covered, and there will be darkness for a little while. Turner and other men firstly killed the Travis family. So they killed the Travis family first. And then what happened? Then they moved from house to house, killing slave owners and freeing slaves. About 60 slave owners and their families were killed. Imagine. Other slave owners formed military forces and stopped the rebellion. So the other slave owners, they got together and they arranged a military force and they stopped the rebellion. Turner hoped for a massive slave rebellion. So Turner was just hoping that it would be a success. Their rebellion against the masters would be a success. Then the government sent soldiers to stop Turner's rebellion. Slaves were defeated and Turner went into hiding. So they were defeated. He was caught and faced charges in the Southampton Country Court. He was found guilty and executed on 11 November 1831. So he was killed. Other slaves were also executed. So the other slaves that had helped him in the rebellion, they were also executed. So that was the Nat Turner's revolt in 1831 against slavery. But it was a bad ending because he was caught, found guilty, and executed. So it was very bad. So that was Nat Turner. You can see this picture, this cartoon. It was drawn to show how Nat Turner and his other men attacked the Travis family. You can see this is the Travis family, the labeled 1, 2, 3. They're fighting back. And then these are the slaves attacking them. They killed the Travis family before they went house to house, killing other slave owners. Okay, so for today, we are done. We are going to look at these rebellions, maybe 2 at a day. So today we focus on Nat Turner. Tomorrow we'll then look at Joseph Sink and Harriet Tubman and so forth. So we looked at rebellion against slavery, how the slaves increased their resistance against slavery by turning to rebellion now. And then we looked at Nat Turner's revolt, how he wanted to stop this slavery by starting a rebellion. But he was executed, he was caught and executed. Your homework, let me just share your homework. Please make sure you do your homework. Okay, so you're going to use that source to answer the following questions. Let's just read it together. What does it say? An extract from a letter written to the Washington Post in 1999. It is about the actions of Nat Turner. It has been said that one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. Still, I am baffled by anyone who makes a hero out of Nat Turner, who led a band of black slaves on a bloody rampage in Southampton Country on August 22, 1831. Like John Brown, so you're going to learn about John Brown later, whom J. Randolph Watson also eulogized in his September 4 letter, Nat Turner found religious justification for wanton murder. John Brown led 6 men, including 4 of his sons, to a cabin of a pro-slavery man named James Doyle at Potawatomi Creek in 1856, announcing that they were the Northern Army. Brown's party killed Mr. Doyle. So this extract is just talking about the actions of Nat Turner. Remember, we looked at Nat Turner. So just take a screenshot. I'll just give you a few seconds. Okay, and then the questions. Question number 1. Explain what the title of the article means. Number 2. Explain the following statement. One person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. Number 3. The writer of the letter says Turner found religious justification for wanton murder. A. Identify what Turner did. B. Explain why he did this. C. Explain how others felt about what he had done that time and why. So I'll just go back to question 1 and 2 and the extract. Okay, so I'm sorry about question 1. Question 1, I can see I didn't put the title of the article. I'm sorry about that. The title of the article is called Nat Turner, No Hero. Nat Turner, No Hero. So that was the title of the article. Nat Turner, No Hero. So you have to explain, what does the title mean? Are we together, grade 7s? In response to question 1, the title is not there on this page. So the title is Nat Turner, No Hero. So what does that title mean? Just go back to question 3 again so that you can copy the question. Okay, I hope you have copied. Make sure you do your homework, grade 7s, please. Do your homework. So this is the article that you are going to use to answer the questions. The title of the article, Nat Turner, No Hero. Just remember about the informal assessment next week. Think about it, go through the topics that I gave you. I'll see you in the next lesson, grade 7s. Take care and do your homework, please. Bye.
Okay, this brings us to the end of our lesson, grade 7. Thank you so much. Bye.